everyone? My name is Trent. This is Rams Talk. How is everyone doing? I'm sure you're doing good because the Rams beat up on the Seahawks a couple of days ago. Sorry, I'm getting this out to you a little bit late, but I'm still feeling it. I'm sure you're all still feeling good. And you know, that was the rebound game we needed after Miami. Rivalry game against the Seahawks, coming off of a brutal performance against the Dolphins. That was the game. And you know, I'll be honest with you, I was up after the game and I couldn't go to sleep. I was still processing everything, and it told me that next time, or I told myself next time after a Pacific Coast game, I'm going to just stay up even later and live stream it. So I think every time the Rams win, Rams fans, myself included, I go to YouTube. What is everyone saying? What is the talk? There have to be people speaking glowingly of the Rams, talking about, well, the Rams just laid it down. The Rams played amazing, right? And when I woke up the next day and I went through YouTube, you know what I found? I found all of the media, all of the same talking heads doing exactly what they do every time the Rams beat a good team. It's what did that other team do to lose the game? It was all about how Russell Wilson melted down. It was all about the Seahawks and this and that, and the Seahawks and this and that, and the Seahawks still going to be there at the end of the year. And no one really talked. There were a few people, Rich Eisen actually, but no one really talked about, wow, the Rams outplayed the Seahawks. It's possible for a good team to beat another good team because that good team is a better team. In this, we felt it. A lot of you felt it. I felt it. Coming into this game, I felt the Rams were going to win. I was not as stressed out as before because I felt the Rams were healthy. We'll talk about that in a second. I felt that the Rams had a week to prepare. The Seahawks were trending in the wrong direction. This was a home game. And I felt that I felt good about coming into this game. Whereas, and I hate to say this, mainstream media, but a lot of these outlets and a lot of these talking heads are just, you know, they built Russell Wilson up into this MVP. And don't get me wrong, Russell Wilson usually is an MVP candidate. But you have to be following the teams. You have to be following the Seahawks. You have to be following the Rams. You have to see how they're trending, what they're doing, what they excel at, and then actually have a thoughtful analysis of it. But it's just this BS after BS after BS. I watched Florio and Sims the other day, and to be honest, Florio's actually given the Rams a little more credit than at the beginning of the season because he's coming around. He's like, oh wow, slowly but surely he's seeing it. But it's still, the whole narrative was, what did the Seahawks do wrong? And you just got to target Metcalf. And Wilson's just got to target Metcalf. And actually Chris Sims got into it a little bit with Florio. We could tell, everyone know Florio is you know, not the coolest dude. So there's that. Then Nick Wright. Don't even get me started on Nick Wright. Nick wrong. He is so wrong. When it comes to basketball, I remember when Kawhi Leonard and the Clippers lost and he came in on a whole episode just gloating. I told you guys, I got this one right. And everyone was like, oh, Nick, you called it. Oh, Nick. And he was just the grin from ear to ear. And it was just like, okay. And I knew what was coming because I took a screenshot. I paused the TV. I took a screenshot. Actually, I paused the phone, took a screenshot. Before the season started, Nick Wright said that the Rams are going to go 5-11. Took a screenshot of it, posted it. I've been posting it since then. And when the Rams got to 5 wins against the Bears, I wanted to post and say, according to Nick Wright, the Rams won't win another game for the whole rest of the season. And when you put stuff like that out there, that just goes to show how you're just looking. Like your producer says, hey, Nick Wright, do a season prediction for all the divisions and all the teams. And he doesn't know. And he just goes in there and he goes, well, the Rams don't have Todd Gurley and Brandon Cooks anymore, so 5-11. And they didn't make the playoffs last year, 5-11. And he's not an analyst. it's just hot takes. And they do this hot takes. And what did he say? He said the Rams are going to lose to the Seahawks. He said they were fraudulent. And then after the game, he didn't give the Rams credit. Their QB is no good. And he was just talking about Russell Wilson. And and Jake said this on his new YouTube channel, Jake from Downtown Rams, that, if you're going to be an analyst or if you're going to make these claims, then you have to back it up. And when you don't, you lose credibility. And people are smart. You guys are smart. You can see things that people who try to say a little bit about everything, and people who are really mainly just basketball fans, you get it. You can see right through them. And he's just pissed off that the Rams 2 years ago beat his Chiefs in that Monday Night Football game, and he's still holding that grudge. Colin Cowherd, he got the game right, but he was talking more about what the Seahawks did wrong. So anyways, like you, I go and I want to consume content and videos after the game where people are pumping up the Rams and saying, wow, this was a dominant performance. And when you don't get that, it sucks. And it's no credit. And granted, I love flying under the radar. But if they're going to talk about our teams, let's at least come correct. And that's what I'm going to give you every week. I'm going to come correct. So let's get into the game. I just wanted to get that off the top of my head because I've seen a lot of you in the comment section of YouTube videos just kind of like, come on guys, where's the Rams analysis? Where's the credit? So before I get into anything, let's just talk about probably the most painful thing we saw this weekend, Andrew Whitworth going down. Now he has a torn MCL. He's going to be out 6 to 8 weeks. So even in the positive, if he comes back in 6 weeks, the front end of that, that's 1 week left to play in the season, regular season. So if he comes back 2 games after that, or 2 weeks after that, that puts him in the 7, that puts him at the end, like 8 weeks. And so possibly a playoff appearance, unless he's Adrian Peterson 10 years ago and comes off the rehab like that. But I think we're just going to have to let's just assume Andrew Whitworth won't be on the Rams this year. And I know he's a warrior and he can battle through it. And according to Jordan Rodriguez, we just lost 1 million Whitworths of a Whitworth in this game. But that is like the one guy on the team you can't have go down. And he went down. Now, this is Joe Noteboom moment of truth. Joe Noteboom is a tackle. He was a left tackle in college. They tried to turn him into a guard. That's not his style. That's not his game. He's not a ground and pound guy. He is an athletic tackle. That's what he is. And he played pretty well. He allowed a sack with Carlos Dunlap coming around, but I think he played pretty well in that game. So Noteboom, this is your time to shine, and we're gonna. This is sink or swim with Noteboom. It really is. He is the blind side tackle for Jared Goff now the rest of the season. So let's rally behind Noteboom, and let's see what he's got. So a lot of people wanted to drop Noteboom, but he just was playing out of position, and this is his time. Taylor Rapp, he played a handful of snaps and sprained his MCL. He's out 3 to 4 weeks, and that sucks because I felt having him healthy along with Fuller back just gave the defense way more flexibility and options. He started off the season injured. Now he's injured here, so he'll definitely be back for the home stretch of games. And then the other injury, it looked like Cooper Kupp had some dings and dents and was banged up. So hopefully, having an extra day off for Monday Night Football, that helps him get back. He didn't play as many snaps. But Kai Forbath, I'll tell you another thing. A lot of talking heads are also saying the Rams are the most complete team in the division. And I agree with that if you're talking about offense and defense. But they're definitely not complete with special teams. Like, it is insane how terrible the kicking is. I cannot remember the last time a Rams team had this going on. When Greg the Leg went down 2 years ago, towards the end of the season, Cairo Santos came in. He did pretty well. Cairo Santos was like, he was okay. Cairo Santos would be dreaming. Now he's kicking full time. So was the one who got away. But imagine if the Rams still had Greg Zuerlein, and to think that people justified getting rid of him or letting him go, saying, well, he wasn't really efficient behind, outside of 40-yarders. Outside of 40 yards? Are you kidding me? We can't even make extra points. And you're talking to me about 45-yarders? We're not even there. We're not even trying 45 yards. We don't have any confidence in our kickers for 45 yards. The kicker for Seattle, imagine if we had that guy. That guy's a dream. If we had that guy, Rams unstoppable. Like, seriously. We don't even try to kick field goals unless they're 23 yarders. And Kai Forbath, like, God bless him. He's a Bruin. And I know he's a good guy. But, like, what are we doing? What are we doing? Bungled that one big time. I'm not letting Snead off the hook on that for that. Unacceptable, Snead. But now let's just get into this game. Sorry, there was a huge rant about a lot of things, but I'm fired up still 2 days later. The Rams wanted this game more. They came out and they took this game. And that's what the media is not talking about. They came out and they took this game. Right? Look at that Robert Woods hit on Trey Flowers. Malcolm Brown, when he rushed it into the end zone the second time, it was kind of like against the Bears when he pushed Roquan Smith back. The Rams brought it. The Rams brought it in this game. When you could hear, it's quiet. You could hear the Rams players hooting and hollering throughout the game. The Rams were physical. They had the eye of the freaking tiger. And that no one's telling you this. But the eyeball test of this game, it's not Russell Wilson just made these bad decisions, had a clean pocket, and just threw it into triple coverage every time. He was getting chased. He was getting hounded. His running backs had no lanes. And when he was throwing it, he wasn't expecting Darius Williams to peel off. I mean, come on. Darius Williams with that tip at the end when he was guarding Lockett. I'll get it in a second, but like that's because the Rams wanted it more. But what do I always talk about? I talk about balance, right? 37 pass attempts, 29 rush attempts, balance. I had no problem with the pass run balance in this game. I was not sitting there yelling at my TV going, run the ball, run the ball. That was fine. Yeah, they just rushed for over 100 yards, and their yards per carry wasn't great, but they had some good runs. They rotated the backs in there. I was pretty happy about that. The balance was perfect. Goff didn't overdo it throwing the ball. He didn't have any passes where I was like, whoa, that was almost a disaster. I'll take zero touchdowns. He managed the game. They had more yards per attempt than more yards per pass than Russell Wilson did. He managed the game. No turnovers he had the strip fumble, but no interceptions. Balance was great. It's what we always talk about. You come to Rams Talk, if this is your first time, first of all, please subscribe. And to everyone watching, great to have you here. But if you come to Rams Talk, I'm always talking about balance on offense. The second thing, turnovers. 3 turnovers to 1. Seattle had 3 turnovers, Rams had 1. What killed us against Miami? Turnovers. What killed the Seahawks against us? Turnovers. What killed the Seahawks against the Cardinals? Turnovers. The Bills? Turnovers. 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 You take care of the ball, the game will take care of you. The ball will take care of you. You know what I'm talking about. And then the last thing that we were worried about coming into this game was, how is Goff going to handle the pressure? Because that destroyed him in Miami. And he handled it quite well. You could tell that they practiced against it. You tell that they had countermeasures for the pressure. So, he held onto the ball too long a couple times where you're still thinking about this internal clock situation with him. But in terms of just diagnosing things sometimes, you're like, he's starting to figure things out. And he called timeouts when he didn't, or they got the delay of game when he didn't. And I'll take that over just getting blown up or throwing a stupid pass. So I don't know if you noticed, but the first play of the game was a screen of Cup. Second play was a screen of Wood. So it's like they were anticipating the pressure coming right off the bat. And so he would just turn around, boom, horizontal pass. Turn around, boom, horizontal pass. So like they came out and they were just anticipating the pressure, and they were doing quite well. In fact, Goff was blitzed on 12 of 25 dropbacks in the first half. So, they did bring the pressure. Jamal Adams was in there. And so when Adams blitz, they had screens into it and runs away from it. So whenever he saw that Adams was coming, screen away from it, run into it. Screen into it, run away from it. So, this is what good coaches do and good teams do. They make these adjustments. And I didn't feel like they needed to make any game time adjustments. So this was actually pretty good. When he was facing the pressure, Goff was 6 for 9, 2 sacks, and a scramble. And then with zero pressure, he motioned Malcolm Brown out and hit Higbee for 39 yards. So that's actually right when the pressure, when you saw these guys on the line and he motioned Malcolm Brown out of the backfield for an empty, you're like, uh-oh, here we go. But then he hit Higbee for 39 yards. So like he knew where to go. And he was on it. He was aggressive, and he was making laser throws to the sides outside the numbers, putting it in places only the receivers could get it. So Goff had a very solid game, and if that pass to Higbee was just 1 foot shorter, Higbee's got that possibly for a touchdown. So I'm very happy with Goff, but it was handling the pressure. I think he did a great job with that. Now switching back to the defense. The defense is legit, and this is what people need to talk about. And I think they're starting to wake up, because you haven't heard a lot about Jalen Ramsey this year, because if he's not being targeted and he's not getting opportunities to pick off the ball, then you're not going to hear about him. It's just he just deletes people and you just don't even know. But the Rams are second in the NFL in fewest yards per game and second in the NFL in fewest points per game. And now they have a win over a quality team and the top number one offense. See, that's the thing. The Rams held the number one offense to 16 points. And it's because their defense is legit. This is a Super Bowl caliber defense. This, in my opinion, best defense in the NFL. I know Pittsburgh's really good. Indy's pretty good too. So like those three defenses are rock solid, but I'll take the Rams. Seattle had 53 rushing yards by running backs. They had 113 overall, but Russell Wilson scrambled for 60, so what are you going to do? But the running backs, only 53 yards. I'll take that. The tackling looked crisp. The Rams were just dialed in. Crisp. Iceberg lettuce crisp. Iceberg lettuce in the freezer crisp. Like Terry Crisp from Kindergarten Cop. That's how crisp. Okay? John Johnson, I don't know how many, there was at least 2 or 3 plays in a row where John Johnson was making tackles, open field tackles, and hitting hard and wrapping up. And they were just flying and they were everywhere. With the exception of that first drive. Now that first drive was weird because Brian Schottenheimer on one hand, who never looked that creative before, and they're running with Alex Collins, and where did they get this guy from? I remember Alex Collins. I totally forgot he was on the roster. Practice squad, I don't even know how that happened, but I think the Rams were caught off guard with what Seattle was doing, and Seattle just went down and scored. And I tweeted, said adjustments will be made, and adjustments were made, and Seattle didn't score a touchdown since. That was it. That opening drive touchdown for Seattle was the only touchdown they scored in that game. So, yeah. Defense is for real. Darius Williams, not on the Pro Bowl ballot. Troy Hill is. 72 cornerbacks are. I guess they took roughly 2 cornerbacks from each team. Darius Williams didn't make it. Darius Williams is arguably a top 5, top 10 cornerback in football. So, and Jake Ellenbogen of Downtown Rams mentioned this. It reminds him of Darrelle Revis and Antonio Rogers-Cromartie and Jalen Ramsey is Darrelle Revis and Williams is Cromartie, where because teams don't want to throw to Jalen Ramsey, they're throwing to Darius Williams. And what teams don't know, because he was a UDFA, cut by the Ravens, went to UAB in college, was always talented, but just didn't have that, I guess, pedigree or that draft stock. He's overlooked. And all he does is intercept. He's third in the league in interceptions, or he's second behind two guys. Only two guys have more than him. He has 4, and they've all come in high leverage situations. And he had 2 or 3 at the end of last year. So, the first interception was against Philly in the end zone on Arcega-Whiteside. The second interception was at the end of the Giants game, and that was a beautiful catch, where he twists his body, lunges, and catches it and rotates to protect the ball. And then 2 in this game, that one where he peels off and intercepts it in front of Dissly. I think it was Dissly. And then the other one against Olsen. I mean, those were both athletic, extremely talented. Like, forget about the fact that he's a cornerback. For a receiver to make those catches, that is just A+. And people are talking about Russell Wilson making such a careless mistake with that first interception. That's not a careless mistake. That's a great play from a cornerback who was covering someone else. And he switched and caught that interception. And then the other one where he saw it, he accelerates, jumps, catches it, transfers it to one hand, and rolls before he hits the ground. Then gets up and still runs and makes a play. Then you have that play in the end zone where he leaps up, just floats, and tips away a touchdown. Like, I don't know how you look at his performance if you are in the media or an objective fan and not look at that guy and go, damn, Darius Williams is a legit cornerback in this league. And not just even legit, but a top-tier cornerback in this league. He's a restricted free agent, which means that teams can get him or negotiate with him, but they have to give the Rams, if they sign him, whatever the Rams tender. So they could tender a first-round pick, so meaning if someone signs him, then they have to give the Rams their first-rounder. And at this point, I feel like unless the Rams lock him up, that's what you're doing. You're tendering this guy as a first-round pick, because people will give up a second-round pick for him. He's young. This will be his first contract, so it won't be mega. So anyways, Darius, there aren't enough superlatives to say about Darius Williams. He was phenomenal. And you know who else was phenomenal? Jalen Ramsey. Jalen Ramsey played, this is a game where you just saw why he's the highest paid cornerback in football. This is why he is Jalen Ramsey. The name Jalen Ramsey. He's as fast as DK. He can run. His technique is great. And this reminds me of, in 2015, first game of the season, I think it was a revenge game from the playoffs. It was Seahawks versus Green Bay. And Aaron Rodgers did not throw the ball in Richard Sherman's direction one time. I think he had Jordy Nelson, he was the prime receiver on that team, still really good at that point. And I remember after the game, people were saying, he didn't throw at Richard Sherman once. That's what this was. Richard Sherman in his prime, Jalen Ramsey in his prime, this is what you're getting. And I still would like to think that Russell Wilson would throw it there and just try. Just go for it. Because he's also tall, and see what can happen. But I think Russell Wilson just did not trust it. He did not trust throwing over there. And he's like, well, I don't really know who Darius Williams is. I don't really feel like he's legit, so I'm going to go with Lockett. And, Lockett had some catches, but it wasn't, Anyways, this is why we paid him that money. And we have an MVP of the defensive front, and we have an MVP of the secondary. And they're both the best at their position in the NFL. This is what makes a top-tier defense. So, I mean, I can go on and on about all this. But, hey, Micah Kiser led the team in tackles. Remember the first series of the game, we were all over Micah Kiser, and then after that, not a peep. Micah Kiser played really well. Keep in mind, this is really like Micah Kiser's rookie season. Even though it's his third year, he hasn't played before the season in an NFL game. So I think Micah Kiser is actually having a very solid year. Let's talk about Leonard Floyd. Leonard Floyd, I mean, he's rounding into be what Bears fans thought he would be with the 9th overall pick. This is him right now. The Bears did not pick up a 5th-year option on him. So the Rams signed him. And he had as many sacks in this game as he had all of last year. Yeah. What does he have? 7 sacks so far this season, which is tied for his career high, which might have been his rookie year. And we still have 7 games to play. I mean, he could definitely end up with 11.5 sacks this year. That's how much Dante Fowler had last year. And he's a more complete player. Leonard Floyd was just a straight beast in this game. And I feel like he's just getting better every game. And so that's a great signing. I'm so happy Leonard Floyd is on the team. And he's not supposed to be a pass rusher, really. So, you get the sacks, I feel like it's just a bonus. I don't even think Jadeveon Clowney has a sack this year. He's a name. That's the thing. He's a name. Right? Terrell Lewis. In my pregame live stream, I predicted Terrell Lewis would have his first career sack in this game. And I was kind of wrong because he had 2 sacks in this game. The first one was when Russell Wilson looked like he was going to run, but he didn't cross the line of scrimmage and went back and he got tackled right there. And the other one was when the pocket was breaking down and Terrell Lewis got him. This is awesome. I'm just so happy to see so many players on defense play well, play together, play tough, play smart. Really, NFL media and analysts, look at this game and tell me how you're not seeing this. Oh, that's right, it's not a talking point. Stupid talking points. A'Shawn Robinson had 10 snaps. He had that tackle for a loss. That was beautiful. Welcome to the NFL 2020, A'Shawn Robinson, with number 94. Nick Scott had 29 snaps, and that's because Taylor Rapp was out, but I didn't even really notice. Taylor Rapp was out, Nick Scott was in while I was watching the game, but Nick Scott was in and didn't notice any drop-off there. Nick Scott, I think, is a very solid player in the secondary. He's going to be getting more reps for sure. Justin Hollins and Terrell Lewis have both had 28 snaps each. AD didn't have a tackle, very weird, but he was active in a lot of plays. There was a play where, he hit Russell Wilson as Russell Wilson was throwing. There was that other one where he tackled him where Russell Wilson just flipped the ball out like that, like the Russell Wilson magic play. But AD still had a crazy impact. And the third string center that was playing, I thought AD was going to feast on him, but there were shots where it showed that the Seahawks were triple teaming him and everyone else had one-on-ones, and that was really why guys were freed up to come in. Because with one-on-ones, it's finally happening where AD is commanding double teams, triple teams, everyone else has a hat and a hat, one-on-one, and we're winning our matchups finally. It's finally happening. Remember beginning of the season, we were talking about our non-existent pass rush? Well, the defense was just installed. Maybe that was what that was. And now that we're getting to know, they're knowing the system and the confidence and they're talented and it's showing and it's beautiful. It's freaking beautiful.